Ito pong mga pangyayaring ito, yung medyo tumaas ang tensyon, sabi nga ni Presiding Officer Chis Escudero, to tone down yung medyo masyadong mainit na balitaktakan. Is this all part of an impeachment trial or even a court trial for that matter, Justice?
Sa palagay ko, Peter, parte din ito ng trial, whether it's court or impeachment, itong clash between lawyers, especially between a seasoned lawyer and a new lawyer, as what happened yesterday.
And you think you don't think that it distracts from the main reason or agenda of the impeachment trial?
It could tend to do that, Peter, but it's usually the presiding officer will stop it from becoming going beyond what is normally the exchanges between counsel.
Opo. Some people po, may mga nagsasabi na medyo masyado naman yatang naaapi yung counsel for defense. Ano po? Ang sinasabi nila, may pagka-condescending na yung mga remarks ni prosecution counsel attorney Lorna Kapunan. What is your take on that, sir?
I think there is some validity to that because we have to give allowance to younger counsel. If you are a seasoned counsel, I think Attorney Lorna, in a way, realized that there is leeway to be given to younger members of the bar. Probably they are not as learned as the seasoned lawyers and they make mistakes, so we should allow that.
Sabi naman po ni Attorney Kapunan, Justice, no, I'm holding myself back from giving a spanking. Sabi ni Attorney. But other than that po, I'd like to raise something din po, Justice, when sinabi po ni Presiding Officer Chis Escudero na by Monday maglalabas daw po siya ng ruling on how both camps talk about the impeachment on social media or if they give interviews sa media nga po. But ano po ba talaga yung nilalaman ng subjudice o yung bawal pong pag-usapan yung merits of the case? Kasi kahapon po, sinabi ni Defense Lead Sheila Sison na yung pinost daw po ni Attorney Ligutan is actually hindi daw po niya dapat ginawa. When I looked at his post ni Attorney Ligutan, ang sinabi lang naman po niya doon is yun nga po, misleading questions are not allowed. Parang ganun lang naman po. Pero na-raise po yung point na yun. So ano po ba talaga yung mga pwedeng pag-usapan at hindi pwedeng pag-usapan outside the impeachment court?
That's a good question, Rica, because normally yung sub-judice rule allows fair comment on the proceedings. So what is fair comment and what goes beyond fair comment is depending on the situation. I understand Senator Chis Escudero as presiding officer will soon come out with some guidelines on what exactly may be the content of a fair comment outside of the proceedings regarding the proceedings.
Kasi gusto ko din po itanong at Justice, no, kung kunyari po ang ipinost ay tungkol sa batas, anong nilalaman ng batas? Pero kasi po ang interpretasyon po nito ay nagva-vary din po sa iba-ibang mga abogado. Is that also something that has to be called upon?
Normally, the interpretation ng lawyers sa batas should be limited by way of a fair comment of the proceedings, and it should not be very extensive. Yung konti lang as connected to what happened, as long as it is fair comment to what transpired, allowed po yan.
Okay. Justice Ascuna, yung pong cross-examine kay COA Auditor Silene, kahapon. Paulit-ulit po, paikot-ikot yung questions on the so-called recipients na bakit hindi ba ninyo chinek kung totoong mga tao yan, etc. And paulit-ulit na sinasabi ng witness na hindi po kasi we base our findings and audit on the documents submitted. And there's a parang presumption of regularity doon sa mga pinirmahan ng mga dokumento. Justice Ascuna, will you kindly please explain to us ano po ang nailatag ng prosecution at ano naman ang nabawi ng defense dito po kay Ma'am Sailin?
You are asking me to make a fair comment.
Is that a fair? Yes. I'm just as an ano po as a common tao na hindi namin na iintindihan talaga, Justice, yung ang dami-dami namang tanong. So at a certain point, yung hindi mo na alam kung so ano na nangyari? Meron bang napabulaanan ng defense? Matibay ba yung mga inilatag ng prosecution? Ayun lang po naman yun, Justice. We don't wanna put you on the spot.
Ang tingin ko dyan yung prosecution is laying the basis muna rather than trying to prove everything. So far, ang evidence na na-present nila shows that the submission of documents in question
Apo.
involve acknowledgement receipts rather than official receipts. Although sabi ng witness, acceptable din naman yung acknowledgement receipts. So medyo kapabor din sa defense yun dahil sabi acceptable yung acknowledgement receipts.
So, Justice, sabi rin ng COA nga po na they don't go as far as checking kung totoo yung mga taong binabanggit sa recipients nitong confidential funds. Number two, na-establish din po yata na hindi dahil sa mukhang katawa-tawa o funny yung names, no, or tunog fictitious yung names, mali na kagad o guilty na kagad o na misuse yung funds kaagad. Tama po ba yung logic na yan?
Ang pagkaintindi ko sa testimony ng witnesses, they do not go beyond checking whether or not these names are names of real persons or they are completely fictitious. They just go by the documents. So, parang preliminary ang ginagawa ng prosecution, just laying the basis, just identifying what documents there are, and they still have I understand total of 13 witnesses on Article 1, so they have presented only a portion of these witnesses, and we will be able to see what the complete theory after they finish all 13 witnesses.
Opo. Justice, yung pong sa mga private auditing firms, base sa mga natutunan ko noong college pa ako, kapag merong ino-audit na korporasyon or company, and we're talking about an external audit company or auditor, kahit paano, sinasampulan nila yung mga, halimbawa, bumili ng ganito o bumili ng ganyan. Pag medyo may duda sila na binili nga talaga ito, I mean, you don't have to check all the 3,000 recipients. Pero hindi ba dapat, one big step is to do a sampling. Meaning, 1, 2, or 3 para lang malaman, totoo kaya ito? But the COA is not doing that. Isn't that a gaping hole in the role of COA?
Palagi ko tama kayo dyan, Peter, because the Constitution says that the COA is tasked to examine, to prevent and disallow unnecessary, excessive, extravagant, irregular, and unconscionable expenditures and uses of public government funds and property. Kaya they should not stop at just accepting whatever is submitted to them. They should examine and find out whether or not the expenditure is unnecessary, irregular, excessive, extravagant, or unconscionable. Because that's what the Constitution mandates them to find out.
Justice, sinasabi po kahapon no, na yung notice of disallowance ng COA doon sa mga naging ahensya ng Vice Presidente ay still up for reconsideration, i-review daw po nila ito ulit. Kung ang isang notice of disallowance ay up for review, ibig sabihin po, titingnan ulit, di ba, iimbestigahan na naman. Bakit po kailangan umabot pa sa impeachment kung ang notice of disallowance naman pala ay pwede pa nilang balikan at tignan muli?
Kahit na siguro gano'n ang mangyari, the COA still is tasked to find out whether or not the original expenditure violates the parameters of excessive, extravagant, irregular, or unnecessary expenditures for the guidance of subsequent similar uses of public funds.
May question din po ako regarding dun po sa pag-issue nila ng notice of disallowance. Nung certain years po na binrot up ng defense, yung sinabi po nila na nung taon ng notice of disallowance na ito, wala sa joint circular ang anything na pinag-uusapan ang aliases or paggamit ng mga peking pangalan. Kinokontra ng prosekusyon na even though itong taon na ito hindi nakasulat sa notice of disallowance ang anything kung paano gamitin ang aliases at false names, sa joint circular malinaw na inilagay ng mga ahensya na hindi nga po talaga pwede gumamit ng false names. Meron po bang defense talaga o may tinatayuan po ba talaga ang defense dito doon sa nakastipulate, doon sa notice of disallowance ng panahon na ito as versus doon sa nakalagay doon sa joint circular on the use of fake names?
Palagay ko yung notice of disallowance na yan should be considered as proof that the items disallowed is either excessive, unnecessary, irregular, or extravagant or unconscionable and therefore violative of the parameters of the Constitution. Alam ko naging gobyerno na opisyal din ako noon sa Philippine Judicial Academy at mahigpit po yung COA. Pag nag-notice of disallowance yan, you have to immediately respond and sometimes they require you to immediately return the funds covered by the notice of disallowance. Mahigpit po ang COA dyan. So, tingnan natin kung ano ang nangyari dito sa Office of the Vice President and Secretary of Education regarding those funds vis-a-vis the notice of disallowance.
Justice Ascuna, I will ask this question and I am expecting po and I request that you wear your Supreme Court Justice hat para hindi po tayo masabit. Ano? Sabi po ni Attorney Lorna Kapunan kahapon, counsel for the panel of prosecutors, and I quote, "Never mind if you're on cross. There are limits to cross-examination. Misleading questions are not allowed in cross." Sagot ni Attorney Christine Ferrer ng Defense Counsel, they are allowed. Justice Ascuna, please tell us, are they allowed or not allowed?
That is a good question again, Peter. In my view, leading questions are allowed, but misleading questions normally are not allowed. But it is often done, and when it is done, it is up to the presiding officer to call the attention of the lawyer to reform the question. I remember yung panahon ni President Erap, one of the witnesses was being cross-examined by Estelito Mendoza as counsel for President Erap. And the witness testified during cross-examination, during direct examination, regarding this point that they went to a restaurant and ordered drinks. And so the cross-examination, Estelito Mendoza asked, what did you do in the restaurant? I said, we ordered drinks, sir. And then he asked another set of questions. Then finally, he goes back to the restaurant. And Estelito Mendoza said, after eating in the restaurant, where did you go? Yan ang tanong niya, after eating. So, mabuti na lang yung witness is sharp also. The witness said, sir, we did not eat. As I said, we merely ordered drinks. So, yun ang misleading kasi hindi naman sinabing they ate pero yung tanong ni Estelito, after eating, where did you go? Kung sumagot siya na after we went to the schoolhouse, the witness would be caught lying already because at one point said they only ordered drinks, at another point he said they ate. So, yun ang misleading pero ginagawa po yun just to catch the witness, and it's up to the counsel to point out that it is misleading.
Or put up an objection. So, to the uninitiated po, Justice, leading, misleading, pareho lang yan. Hindi po ba? So, what is the difference as far as the justice is concerned? Ano po ang pagkakaiba ng leading at misleading?
Ang leading po, parang you're suggesting the answer to the witness. It for instance, said, kumain kayo doon sa restaurant, hindi ba? Yes, sir. That is not misleading kasi talagang kumain eh. But that is a leading question. You are suggesting the answer. That is not allowed in direct, but is allowed sa cross. But misleading, pagkatapos ninyo kumain eh, saan kayo pumunta? Hindi naman sinabing kumain. So, if it is not based on the evidence or contrary to the evidence, the question is misleading and not allowed.
Ayun.
Yung pala yun, contrary to the evidence. Ang tanong, misleading yun. Kakalito kasi yung magiging abogado na kami talaga pagkatapos ito impeachment justice, sabi ko po sa inyo.
Dapat magkaroon ng crash course sa justice.
Diba?
Pagkatapos ng every hearing sa impeachment trial. Diba?
Isa na lang po sa akin, Justice, before we let you go po. No? Gusto ko lang din po malaman, ano po ba ang mga impormasyon na pwedeng ilagay sa paggamit ng confidential funds? Kasi kahapon po lumabas din dun sa defense, no? Na hindi nila nilagay ang ilang impormasyon ng Vice Presidente, katulad na lang po yung address dun sa caterer kasi baka daw po malaman yung address ng Vice Presidente via the caterer, maging daan pa yon para may mangyaring hindi maganda sa buhay ng Vice Presidente. Parang medyo malayo na po yung reach na gano'n, no? Para mag-conclude na hindi natin dapat ilagay ang info na ito because of that kind of reasoning. Anong information po ba ang allowed and not allowed for confidential use?
Regarding what, Rika?
Yung mga info po na pwede mong ilabas at hindi ilabas sa confidential funds, ano po ba yung Justice?
Depende po yan sa operation. Sometimes to protect the identity of the agents, they either sometimes use fictitious names or they erase, they blot out in the report the confidential portions so as to protect the identity of the agents. So yun ang nangyari. But sometimes it is necessary to determine whether or not the expenditure is legal. It can be done in what is known as executive session, and this can be outside of a public hearing.
Ayun.
At talaga po ba na neither allowed nor prohibited ang paggamit ng aliases?
Depende sa rules po yan. Normally, what I know in the United States, they allow it. as long as it can be verified some other way without revealing the identity of the agents.
All right. Justice, maraming salamat po for a very lively and informative discussion, sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you,
Peter.
Justice. Good
Yan,
morning po.
oo.
Thank you, Rica.
Ayan ang ating resource person. Talagang justice. Saan po kayo kakain mamaya?
Sasama ba tayo?
Pwede kami makahabol.